So if you watch any TikTok at all, you'll know who Meredith Duxbury is. And she is known for slathering foundation all over her face.
Honestly, you just have to lather it on and trust the process.
Recently, she shared her techniques on TikTok, and I thought it would be a fun video if we followed her tutorial. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. I'm not 100% sure about all the products she's using, but I'm just using my own and seeing if the technique will work with that.
Get ready with me while I give you some tips about my foundation technique. I'm not gonna lie, this technique does not work for everyone. It really depends on the type of skin you have. The foundation technique also works a lot better when you have no hair on your face.
So she starts off with primer, and today I'm going to use the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. And she does use an excess of every single product. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this. Next, I think she uses a face oil, but I don't have one on hand. So I'm just going to go in with another like glowy primer, which is the Wet n Wild Prime Focus Primer Serum, and apply that as well. She also does shave her face, which I'm not doing today, so that's probably why she added the oil, but definitely not going to do that. But let's zoom out so I can show you the foundation.
The type of foundation you're using is going to affect your results. I use the Huda Beauty Faux Filter and the Dior Forever Skin Glow. I've tried this with a few different foundations, and some of them, it does not look good at all. Doesn't mean it's a bad foundation, just means that it doesn't work for this technique. Also, the less foundation you put on, the more dry it'll look. Honestly, you just have to lather it on and trust the process. Also, I've seen a lot of you guys try this technique without wearing a headband. Please do not do that. You are going to get your hair completely ruined. Always move your headband up and get your hair lined.
So she uses two types of foundation, and today I'll be using the Ordinary Full Coverage Foundation and my Mode Elite Full Coverage Foundation. So this is where the fun starts. So we're going to use 7 pumps of the Ordinary. It is slightly too dark, and then the other one's a bit lighter, so hopefully it'll work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's already enough for like 5 faces. And then we're gonna add 3 pumps of this. That is so much. And the colors are actually more different than I thought they would be. Then she grabs a brush and she mixes it together. So I'm gonna spill this. Oh gosh. And she said to obviously wear your headband because it can get all in your hair. I don't even think I have enough, but this is enough for me. So she then just wipes it all over her face. Oh my gosh, this is so much. I'm scared. Okay, I think that's everything. I honestly haven't even added as much as she does, but I'm just gonna pick the rest up with my finger, I guess. And then she rubs it in with her fingers. I want to zoom the camera in, but I cannot because my hands are covered in foundation. So she just puts it all over her face. This is way too much, and it feels weird putting it on my eyes and my brows. There's still so much product on my hand. Then she goes ahead and takes a sponge and just blends out everything. A damp beauty blender, obviously, and she says it's very important, obviously, to have a really soft, bouncy beauty blender. But I guess this just soaks up all the excess foundation. So far, it doesn't feel that bad. I did only use 10 pumps. I'm pretty sure she uses like 15, but this is more than enough for me. And because of the foundations I'm using, I don't think it feels as heavy as people have said their foundation feels. I don't feel like it's that heavy, to be honest. However, looking up close, you can see that I'm wearing a bunch of makeup. There's no like skin finish. It looks like a mask. Taking it down my neck because I don't think the color matches me exactly. But doesn't this remind you of that kid that has like all that peanut butter all over its face, or his face? Because that's what it looks like to me. My skin is feeling a little bit strange, like kind of itchy, but it is probably clogging all my pores. So this is what the skin is looking like. Honestly, not the worst thing I've seen.
The whole reason I love using my hands is because the warmth blends everything together. For any other blending, please use a damp beauty blender. Go to part 2.
Next, moving on to concealer, I'm just using my own, so the Mode Elite, and she seems to put like a lot under her eyes, kind of like this. This is a lot more concealer that I would use on a normal day. I usually just do like a dab under my eyes. She puts it down her nose and then forehead. I just brought 2 beauty blenders because I knew the other one would get soaked, so I'm just going to blend it up with that. I think this makeup should be okay if you're like just taking pictures, but in person you can see like there's layers. Like it's the definition of like a cake face.
Get ready with me while I give you some tips about my foundation technique. Blending is your best friend. It's really what creates that airbrush effect. Now I know it may feel scary and look scary, but trust the process. Just keep blending. Another tip is to use a soft beauty blender rather than a denser one.
Moving on to bronzer, she adds a very liberal amount, and today I'm using the She Glam Color and Sculpt Stick. She seems to be using something a lot more emollient, but I don't have another one that's more emollient than this. So she kind of just draws it up like this. She doesn't do her nose. I might just do the sides of my nose. Then grabbing a brush, she just taps it all in. I think I've added less than she has, to be honest. But it's still more than I would usually do. Hopefully this ends up looking good. So far it doesn't look terrible. I actually think it looks quite nice. And then she just goes over it with the sponge again. I've done a pretty good job at blending mine out because I didn't add just as much as she did, but it's still a lot.
Also, get a beauty blender that has the softest material instead of the ones that have those little tiny holes in them.
Then she just puts on some cream blush. I'm just adding the She Glam, what is it called? Color Bloom blush. And I can't remember if she uses a brush or a sponge to blend it out. A brush. So I'm just going to use the same brush that we used for the bronzer and just pat that in. She puts her blush really high up, but she does have pretty prominent cheekbones. I just can't handle it with the lips being blanked out like this. Okay, I think that looks good. Maybe I'll go over it with a sponge again.
Now, powder is the most crucial step to the technique. I'm going to tell you straight up, if you don't have the right powder, this technique is going to look horrific. You need to apply the powder with a powder puff or it's just not going to look good.
Now comes the fun part and the scariest part for me because this might ruin it. So next we go in with powder. Today I'm using the Alpha HD powder. She obviously uses a lot because she uses an excessive amount of everything. So I'm going to put like that much in the cap. And I have a little powder puff because she says a powder puff and the powder makes the biggest difference. So let's see, I'm gonna have to tap out my creases. She doesn't really like pat off any of the excess, so I'm not gonna either. And then she just goes ahead and packs it all on, I guess. I'm just gonna keep blending. At least we've given the foundation a second to dry down as well. But so far, I don't know how it's gonna look in natural light, but so far it doesn't look that horrific. Saw Soph do it. Soph Does Live. I've seen her do it and oh my gosh, hers actually looked really, really bad, but it could just be the foundations that she uses. Like Meredith said, the foundation makes the biggest difference. It looks super dry now. Under the eyes was okay, but all over the face with a puff, I don't think so. My foundation still feels like kind of tacky. Not tacky, but it doesn't feel completely set, even though I've gone ahead and used so much. So I basically used all the powder in the cap as well, which is a lot of powder, much more than I'm used to. I usually take like a light dusting, and now I'm looking super matte. So this is what I'm looking up close. I mean, looking like up close. I don't know how I managed to get the blush has glitter in it, so.
If you're the type of person that likes a low maintenance makeup routine, this technique is not for you.
Next, she just goes ahead and does her powder products. So bronzer, Also, if you can hear like a whirring in the background, it is my fan because it is so hot today. I cannot do it without a fan. This will melt straight off my face. I don't think she has like a technique as such for this. Like, I mean, how else do you put on the powder product? So I'm just quickly just doing it my own way. I guess she can't do her eyes first because she rubs all the foundation all over her eyelids. So I don't know how I'm going to manage this eye look, but I'm going to try my best.
I also just tested this technique not using a primer, and it doesn't look as good.
Blush, I am just using the one from Primark, and it's just called the blush in the shade Rosewood. It's literally £1. So just adding that because it suits the color of the cream blush. It's nice and pigmented.
Technique is not for everyone because you have to follow pretty specific steps or it won't look good.
For highlighter, I'm using my Ofra Rodeo Drive, and she seems to put it quite far down her cheek. Like, she has perfect skin, so it's good for her, but I think because my cheeks are quite textured, it's not gonna look as good.
I want to be honest with you guys and don't want to set you up for failure for when you try this. Go to part 3.
Yeah, and then she goes ahead and does her brows. So I'm just going to attempt this. So brush through my brows because they're covered or caked in foundation. Brush through the brows. I don't know if this is in this video now, but so she goes in with a brow pomade, but I don't have that. So I'm just using my MAC shadow in Corduroy. It does pull a little bit red, but that's okay. And she outlines her brow first. It's very dark. I think I went too low down there, but she outlines the top as well. And then she just fills it in. So this is gonna make my eyebrows look so blocky.
Welcome to part 3 of getting ready with me while I give you tips about my foundation technique.
And then she just runs some brow gel through it, and I'm using the Essence Fix It Like a Boss. It's the only actual clear brow gel I have. So this is the current state of my face. Don't mind this brow, it's not cooperating today. But I'm just noticing a little bit of dryness over here. But honestly, my under eyes aren't creasing as bad as they usually do. Next, she just cleans off her lip with a wet wipe. I don't use wet wipes. I'm just using a towel and I just licked my lips. And then she does her lips. I'm just gonna I'm using the Wet n Wild Color Con lip liner in the shade Plumberry. Then for lipstick, I'm using the Passion Pro Moisture Surge lipstick in the shade Aurora. Fill the lips with that. This is really cool toned.
A lot of people ask me, doesn't that feel uncomfortable on your face? Personally, I don't really feel much. Also, it's trash until the lash, as Nikki Tutorial says.
Next, she does her eyeshadow actually, but I've already added my lips, so I'm going to jump off camera. I'm actually going to do a green look as well, so I'll see you in a sec. Next, mascara. I'm just using the Essence, what's it called? Lash Princess, the volumizing one, the purple cap. And then she does her lips, and she talks about doing it in a colder temperature. Then she adds lashes, so we're gonna go ahead and add some lashes if I can find them.
If you guys are trying this technique, please do it in rooms that are colder temperatures. If you do it in a hot room, this is gonna slide right off. I know it seems like there's a lot of do's and don'ts to this technique, but it's so worth it.
Please just ignore the front of my lash. I don't know, it just won't stick down, and the side's still slightly wet. But lastly, she goes in with some lip gloss.
Gloss me up, baby. All right, here's the final look, you guys. It literally makes me so happy that you guys are recreating my foundation technique. So thank you guys so much, and I love you.
Mine's the same tone as the lipstick, just slightly lighter. And then I'm just going to take down my hair, and I'll bring you in close and show you the finished look. So this is the finished look, nice and nice and close and personal. So what do you guys think? I'm just trying to straighten out my mirror. What do you guys think? I don't think it looks as horrible as I thought it would. I honestly thought maybe she used like some filters and stuff to make it look better, but I don't think it looks that bad. Maybe it's the foundation I used and the primers, but it doesn't look half as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I've seen so many people do it and it go completely wrong, but I really like it. I mean, there's no way I'll be doing this every day, but it's just a waste of product, even though I'm project panning, but I don't think it's that bad. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought and whether you would try it out and what you think. But other than that, that's it from me, and I will see you all in my next one.